4 of Quarantine Art. Before we dig into this week, I just want to say amazing work last week. It was really, really cool to see your co-creations, that how you're going to collaborate with other artists, even though you're apart, whether it was a digital collaboration or sending a photograph back and forth or working out a puzzle that fits together in the end. Very, very cool. Thank you so much for showing up to that idea jam. That is awesome. You're getting feedback. That's part of your mark as we're going through. Heads up, you are getting marked on these challenges. I'm going to post another video, a separate video explaining that process. So check the stream for that. But let's dig into week 4 of Quarantine Art Challenge. All right. So week 4 of Quarantine Art Challenge. This week's challenge and your question that you're dealing with is, how might an artwork show what matters to me in this moment? So let's dig into that question. So if we deconstruct the question, how might an artwork, and the artwork is open-ended in this case, right? So that means it could be any media. It could be a drawing, could be pencil crayon, shaded drawing if that's your thing. You can dabble into photography if you'd like with this challenge, sculpture, painting, that kind of thing, to show what matters. All right. So if you're showing what matters, that means you're communicating something. All right. You're telling a story and what is important to you in this moment. Okay. So the moment is important because we are in the middle of the pandemic. We're stuck at home. That's why we're in quarantine art right now. So what is important to you? What keeps you sane? What keeps you creative? What keeps you connected? All those kind of things. What is especially important to you right now in this moment? All right. So that is what you're trying to tackle this week. All right. So as we go through the checklist for what you need to do. So the first thing is, in order to answer that question, you have to think of what matters to me right now. All right. And you can think of potentially objects, maybe people or places, and finding visual examples of what matters to you right now. All right. So for me, it's like coffee and my sketchbook, and I'm a musician. So having that creative outlet is really important to me right now. My running shoes to get out and get some fresh air after being trapped all day, those kinds of things. And then how are you going to display them in an interesting way? Okay, so you want to think in an artful, artsy kind of way, considering the color and the texture and how you lay out things. How are you going to, if you're going to go the still life route, which is the most common way, you can take other approaches in terms of location and people, but there is... if you're communicating about what matters to you, often visual objects are a good way to communicate that, using objects as symbols for things that are important to you. Okay. You want to plan out an approach, think about which route you're going to go in terms of photography or a drawing, practice some techniques. All right. Don't just dive into the final work right away, and then create. Okay. Don't forget to stop to get feedback. We've got Google Plus. You've got your classmates and friends that you can ask for feedback from, and don't forget to record that feedback. Okay, so if you're getting feedback from me, if you email me this is what I've got so far, do you think it's a strong idea, and I email you back, we'll record that information just like we did in class, so you have a documentation rather of that feedback. Okay, and then create, and that's how we're going to go. So as always, I've broken down the creative process into a kind of a weekly plan. So Monday, hopefully you're looking at this right now, you're getting the new challenge for the week, doing a bit of brainstorming. Tuesday, you're going to get some inspiration, digging into some of the links further, maybe sketching, brainstorming, talking the ideas with an art partner to get some feedback right away. Then dig into Wednesday where you're starting to create, and maybe you're getting some more feedback. Thursday, you're going to create some more, and Friday, you're going to do the turn-in doc and post to Google Plus and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's kind of our standard weekly plan that you should be fairly used to at this point. Okay, one of the inspirations for this is a photographer and art teacher, Libby Beatty, who makes what she calls virtual learning portraits. Okay, so we would call them distance learning because that's what we're using here at Hayden. But what she does this portrait, that what matters to her the most right now in the moment. So I've linked her slideshow there at the bottom, and some ideas for how to either build a still life. Okay, this is more suitable for someone if you're really like feeding for something a bit more advanced, or things organized neatly is a really cool slideshow. And it's an Instagram and a Tumblr too. How are you going to lay these out and compose them in an interesting way so they show that what is important to you? I did this project yesterday. My wife and my son and I did this. We did it on the back porch. I laid out a whole bunch of things that matter to me in this moment. You can see here's my list of things, from a camera to a laptop, the markers and pens, to my favorite vinyl record right now, weights for working out at home because I can't go to the gym, comfy Husky Nation sweatshirt, that kind of thing. So that's the photograph that I took, and I chose the photography route for this week, okay, which you're welcome to do as well. Here's some other examples of still life setups if you want to get into the drawing route, arranging them in an interesting way, and either doing a painting, which you see on the left or the right, or I think that one in the center is funny. It's like a collection of McDonald's, but it gives you the idea of like setting up something with nice light, maybe putting a table lamp to light it so you get cool shadows, and draping a cloth over so you get kind of like a good backdrop and that kind of thing. So you do a kind of your classic still life, right? Down the middle here in the center is a kind of a collage, a collection of things. So this is kind of like my example there, where it is Nick Bantock is the name of the artist, and he does that is actually a photograph. So he's got some painting, but he's also got some objects in there. So he's got like a plastic skeleton and a compass, and that would be a really cool way to like have a bunch of small objects. Maybe you have like a treasure chest of objects that like represent important things that matter to you, and then laying them out and making an artful kind of collage, and then photographing that. Okay, the photograph in this case is a really important part of the process because that's how you're going to share back. So you want to think about doing that. And the left-hand side, there's a pencil and charcoal still life of what matters at that moment. So you've got game consoles and music and phone and things like that. And that's kind of like a drawn version. All right. I had a number of questions this week about how to take good photos, either of your sketchbook or, say, if you're doing a pencil drawing like that, how to do that. I'll post another separate video about going into more depth about how to take a good photo of that. But my basic, simplest recommendation would be, if it's not raining outside, is go out into the shade outside and then take a photo of it outside in the shade. Okay, so go to the side of your building or the side of your house that isn't getting direct sun in the daytime and take a photo out there. You're going to get nice diffused ambient lighting, and it's not going to be grainy, it's not going to be too dark, that kind of thing. So give that a try if you're trying to document your work. All right. So don't forget, document your process as much as possible, brainstorming, getting feedback, all that kind of stuff. And then you want to document the finished product too. Okay. When you're documenting the finished product, remember that you're trying to take a good photograph of just the work if you can, and then you're going to submit it on the week's turn in doc and then post to Google+. All right, so hopefully you're starting to get used to that flow over the course of the week. I'm going to show you the turn-in doc, which will look slightly different. Okay, we're going to be looking, this green column is for us to check off that you've completed. So we're looking for you to fill these boxes. Okay, so you're brainstorming, you can include sketchbook pages, type in your thinking into this box, include links or reference images if you're using them. A couple works in progress. So like as you're doing, take a photo of your setup as you're going through it, and then check out the finished product, doing that there. Tell me a little bit about your finished product. This week, that's where you can say, like, I included my electric guitar because I play electric guitar and things like that. If you wanted to include that kind of explanation. Did you post on Google Plus and your Google Photos album with your links to all your photos? Some people are still struggling with that. Don't forget that there's a tutorial video on that in an intro about how to use Google Photos and how to make links for the Google Photos. So check that out too. And then what you're most proud of and what you would do differently next time. Okay, so that is our weekly challenge. Good luck with it. Reach out to me as much as you can. Remember, that's part of the process. If we were in class, you'd be asking questions as we're in the same space all the time. So don't be afraid to like ask lots of questions. That's part of the creative process as we go through it. Okay, so don't forget to check out the other video coming with an explainer of how you're getting marked on all this kind of stuff. That'll be posted separately. But good luck. Let me know how it goes, and have a good week.